It's his left lower leg, but I went in to see him and just said, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Don't tell me you're like Jacob. You get carried off in a stretcher and you're ready to play the second half." But he both laughed. But he's whether he'll be able to play, it'll probably be day to day. But it's his lower leg.
Jerry Tipton.
Yeah, John, the lot of booing with that play when McKissick went into Ty's lower leg, and also the one in the second half with Lance and the Florida guy goes down, the whole thing. How did you see those two plays?
I didn't. I'll watch them on tape, Jerry. When I see them on tape, I'll comment to the league about them. If I think they were obvious, they got to explain why they weren't called.
And I wonder too. Late in the first half, you kind of went big with Oscar and Lance together. How much do you think that maybe changed the tone of the game?
No, it did change the tone. Lance was the reason we had a gap. You know, and I said after, he's building his own confidence. He knows what he is. He's not listening to people tell him 8th grade basketball scoring and do all. He's not listening to that. He's doing what he has to, and he protected Keon. Keon didn't play great today. Keon's played out of his mind. Well, he struggled. He's not a machine. He's not a computer. It's not video games. And Lance went in and covered for him. I gave Bryce a little bit of a run, but when I put Lance in, Lance just made the statement loud and clear, you better keep playing me. So that's the only reason I didn't play Bryce more. It's how well Lance played. But then, you know, Oscar does what he does, and I thought that Xavier ran a great game, just ran us in the second half. It was great. At one point, one of the other players, we broke a huddle, and I think it was Kellen said to him, "Listen, don't foul, because with you in the game, we're different. You make us run, so don't foul." And it's true. Like, you could say it was just Lance, but he was out with 2 fouls, and they were both fouls. He fouled both times.
Daryl Bird.
Yeah, Cal, I was going to ask about Lance. I mean, you have a player of the year candidate against each other. I wonder if every team needs a Lance. What he brings beyond the box score.
You know what I told him after, what's great, that shows you it's not 8th grade basketball? He shot an air ball from the free throw line. And you know what the fans were doing? We want Lance. We want Lance. It just tells you, if you'll fight and compete and not be timid, just play aggressively, everybody loves it. It's like I kept telling Severe, you have an impact on the game when you don't score. But it kills you when you don't. When the minute you don't care about scoring, you're going to score, which he did today. And, you know, it's, you know, interesting what we're seeing. Davion stepping in, doing what he's doing. I mean, we had timeouts and played a lot of people in the first half. In the second half, you're trying to win the game. You know, and again, the fans are loving on these guys, and that's why I keep coming back to. You're talking down on the kids or the program. When you're talking down and you're yelling too much, or, you know, what about this and what about that? I mean, I don't get it, but that's why I say we got the greatest fans who, when they recognize that stuff, no eyeballs or no ears from me. No eyeballs or no ears from are true fans. The Big Blue Nation. And these kids, you know, how about today? And I didn't know till this morning that we were going to have 4 people from Mayfield come in. How about that? The team was like touched by it. Like, they remember, I said, where were we when it happened? We were at Notre Dame, Coach, and we all went to the grotto and we were praying for I said, you prayed for 4 of these guys. And you know what? One of them was in the candle factory. I mean, I come back to, please, everyone, do not forget about West Kentucky. We should be able to do this and do this rather quickly, because we're not talking 400,000 people affected. It's a small number. And, you know, talking when we were up there to different legislators and the governor, I mean, they're on it. We just got to keep moving.
Kyle
I know you don't know details, and I don't mean to belabor the point, but on Ty, it sounds like, at least when you say, you guys are laughing back there and day to day, that you feel pretty good that it's not a major.
Well, there was an X-ray. So yeah. So if that were like, it looks like there's something there, I'd be like, wow. Now, he still may be out a week or two. Who knows? Could be a muscle. It could be something that's separated, because he got hit hard. It's kind of like the guy that bum rushed our huddle. This game, it is. But what was great? The other players of Florida came right up to me and said, "Coach, we're all good." I said, "Thank you. We are too." Our team huddled and said, "We're not buying into that. We're not. That's not who we are. We're worried about winning a game." So probably it was good that it happened. Not that he got hurt, but good that kind of scrum, and then our response to it. Like Lance responded great. He just laughed.
Ken Spencer?
John, it seemed like in the second half you just kind of kept feeding it to Oscar down low and let him do his thing. Is it hard to come up with different ways to describe how good he's been for you?
He's been a beast. The only thing, it's kind of like Severe, where when he focuses on one area, Oscar's thing, he started to get where he's trying to score. Like, how does a kid make 85 shots in 5 minutes and then miss them in the game? Or miss free throws when he'll make 15, 18 in a row? Then it becomes, you're trying to add points in your head. And you know how I know that affects it? Because I did that. Oh, yeah, you're counting points. I know what I had. If I make these two, and then I make these, well, then you don't make them. You got to look at the stat sheet when the game's over. And so with him, just play, man. Just play.
Larry Vaughn.
Hey, John, I was wondering, with Oscar, does he ever have a bad day? I mean, do you ever have to give him a pep talk?
Well, the people that are close to him said there were at a point in time that, the kid was down and this, that, and the other. But since he's been here, this kid got a smile on his face. He's starting like he's a funny kid. When he doesn't want to concentrate or he doesn't have the mental discipline, I don't understand the language. It's all BS. He understands everything. And if you watch him now, he doesn't break down on play. He knows what he's doing unless he becomes mentally undisciplined and he starts to roam with his mind. But this is, like I said, I told them after, this is high-level basketball here. This isn't 8th grade. You can't be listening to 8th grade coaches tell you got to get points, you got to do just what's your role on this team? I'm going to do it. And the biggest thing I'm going to do is fight and battle and compete and talk and do what I'm supposed to for this team. And then the team's going to do some stuff for me that gives me easy baskets.
Hayes Gardner.
Kellen Grady missed a few shots, but he still had 4 threes today. Is he one of the better spot-up shooters you've had at UK? And what does having him do for the offense?
Well, you had some, going back, Deron Lamb was a really, he'd go get 25 in a minute if you left him open. And I've had Devin Booker, he's not too bad. But he also had Aaron Harrison, who would knock down shots. I mean, I'm leaving guys out. Malik Monk. I mean, come on. We've had a bunch here. But what I like is I had to take him out because he missed 4 in a row. I had to. But his job was to keep shooting. At the end of the half, I got upset because Ty was open in the corner and Oscar was open and he shot 2 balls. What are you doing? And then they got a layup. Well, you told me to shoot it. Not if guys are wide open. So he made his last shot because I mentioned after the game couldn't make a shot. And then somebody said, well, he made 4, made 3 to start the game. I said, oh, I forgot. And they all laughed.
Lonnie Demery. Go ahead, Lonnie.
Next, I can't hear you, Lonnie. It's breaking up. Go ahead.
Jerry Tipton.
John, I wonder with Ty, hopefully not serious, as you say, but you've had several guys get hurt, nicked, and so on. You starting to feel star-crossed at all? Like, what's going on?
Well, I talked to the guys after. You guys know it. And I've talked about this, fresh minds and fresh legs at the end of the year, that's the most important thing. And so we went in this practice, we had a couple pro scouts come in, and I said, look, I'm going to go 5-on-5 for about 10 minutes, and that'll be about it. I told the players before, the guys that need that are Bryce and Damian. They need us to scrimmage some. The problem is we got guys that are in wars every time they play, and they don't need to be scrimmaging with 21 days left in the regular season. So we did a 5-on-5 blockout drill. The third time up and down the floor, Oscar went down and grabbed his leg. And I went, what? And he ended up shaking it off, and he was okay. What do you think I did, Jerry? We went 5-on-0. Here we go. So you can't, our whole thing is being really focused, being fresh and ready to go, talking, accepting roles. Some guys are going to play better some days. Some guys won't play as well some days. They're not machines. They're not robots. But we got enough guys that can come in and do their thing.
Kyle Tucker.
Cal, kind of along those lines, I would think there's just a mental hurdle that you got to get over when you see a guy that you know is important to you, your teammate, go down like the way Ty did, and it didn't look good in the moment. Are you happy with, and this is now, like Jerry said, it's happened to you guys a few times. Are you happy with the way this team seems to be able to shake that off and kind of just keep going with whoever's still out there?
And then if it was one more guy like it was at LSU and the way it was at Auburn, it makes it way harder. You know what I'm saying? We need those guys. But one we can kind of cover for. We covered for Severe, covered for Ty. We can do it, but you can't cover for both of them.
Larry Vaught.
John, you're always talking about everything points to March. All the different things that have happened this year with injuries, some of the games y'all have faced on the road and all. Is that all in the long run going to be really good preparation for when March gets here in a few days?
What defense did Florida play today? Larry, were you watching the game, Larry? They played a 3-2 zone, which we haven't faced all year. Thank goodness we faced it. And I think our guys were confident in what we were doing, and they looked confident.
Kyle Tucker, back to you.
I'm sure this doesn't
Necessarily matter to you that much, but in the National Player of the Year race, you guys have officially launched Oscar's campaign with stuff like today. Are you all in on the idea that he's the most impactful player in the country?
I would say, but there may be some bias that, plays at Kentucky, no way. I'll vote for a yellow, what do they call those, blue dog, yellow dogs, what, before I'd vote for that? I mean, he may get some of that, but the reality of it is if you watch and you see who he is, you got to love the kid. He plays so hard. He never says a word about the officials. He smiles. He went to a grade school and was working with some kids from the Congo. They said it was like ridiculous what it did for the kids and for him. He plays his heart out. Doesn't play great every night out, but he impacts every game. And so I would say there may be a couple players that are having more of an impact on games than him, but I'd have to see him. And I'd have to say over the long haul, he's doing things that, Kyle, haven't been done for 45 years. Yeah, but he's at Kentucky. I know. I get it. So, we've had the Player of the Year here. Have we had a couple of those, I think? 2? So we'll see. It's just got to finish. I told him, I'm trying to get him to stop worrying about offense so he'll score. Stop worrying about missing a shot in a free throw. Stop worrying about missing one-footers. If you get 15 rebounds a game the rest of the way, you're going to be player of the year anyway. And if you stop worrying about offense, you'll score more. Wow, isn't it funny how that works?